From a new player to a new player. So today I will be giving out some of the tips that I personally missed out while playing the Lost Ark for the first time, or I was simply blind enough not to notice, or the game failed to inform me about them, and I'd like to do this while I'm still reasonably fresh Makoko myself. My first tip to a new player would be, before even starting to playing the game, check if there are any current events going on for Story Express or Power Pass Express or any kind of expresses, because in my opinion these things should be streamlined and it should be available to everybody and anybody at any time. However, currently that is not the case, and without these I would simply not recommend to start. I would say just wait out till there's an event. And these events are going off every other month, so it's probably not gonna be a long wait, because without them you can go through the story. However, you will encounter problems once you will need to start upgrading your gear, and without Story Express that is gonna be an absolute nightmare. That is a bit sad that it is this way, but that's just how it is right now. But let's assume you currently started to play, or the events are available at the time you're watching this video, and you wonder, should you use the Story Express or should you use the Power Pass? Now it all entirely depends. Are you a first time player or not? Because if you are, it's a Story Express without a question. Like no questions asked, just do the story. It's a brilliant story, it's an awesome way to experience the game. Sure, it may not necessarily be what the game represents once you go forward in it, but it's still an awesome experience, and everybody who's starting for the first time, I cannot recommend enough to try it out for yourself. If this is your second character, or maybe you started the story, you're not enjoying it so much, should you use the Power Pass? Yeah, you should then. It's gonna be a little bit difficult to adjust to the character. Not that the story will teach you a lot, but it still gives you a little bit of idea how to use your character, how to play the game. It's like a tutorial in some sense, you could say, but it is not necessary. That being said, if you're not into lore, you're very welcome to use the Power Pass, but do keep in mind it can be a little bit of adjustment. You will be bombarded with a whole bunch of items, you have no idea what to do. It's gonna take a little bit of time to adjust. Now let's say you use the Power Pass. My next tip will be, you will get one of these boxes. I don't have it anymore, but in that box there will be a whole bunch of items. Do not pick any random items. There will be a whole bunch of items like this, but they're gonna be a little bit lower quality. They're gonna be a relic, not an ancient piece. And there can be many different sets with many different pluses and minuses. As you can see, for example, this is Nightmare Resonance, but it could be other gears as well. So be sure you pick the correct one. I will leave a link in the description for a place where you can check out how to play your class and what kind of items should you use and what set to pick. Link will be in the description. My other tip would be, make sure when you pick a class, you double check what is the current meta. It is a little bit sad that there is metas. Some of the classes are just better than others, and you don't necessarily want to pick the lesser one. Nobody wants to play something that is less. That is understandable. So make sure you pick something that you like, but is also a decent class as well. Now when you're gonna Google stuff, a lot of people probably gonna say, pick a support. Support can be a bard, support can be an artist, or the one that I have, a paladin. And the reason people say pick support is because when you're gonna go into the party finder, a lot of times people need supports more than anything else. At least that's what you're gonna hear on Reddit and all the other places. In my experience, I find that that is not necessarily the case, because everybody who's anybody who plays Lost Ark seriously, they have a bunch of alts. And of course everybody creates an alt as a support simply because it's easier to get in the parties. But in my experience, the way I see it, you only need 2 supports in a party when you need other 6 people to do damage. And everybody has an alt support. I personally find that there is not that huge support problem. Maybe there's gonna be a bigger problem once I get somewhere here, but until here, it's not that big of an issue. It's much easier for me to find a party with my Gun Lancer, who is a little bit higher item level, than it is with support. Even though everybody will probably tell you to create a support, I will say that that is not necessary. I don't see that as being a necessary thing. Just pick something you like out of like more decent classes and you'll be fine. If you do enjoy support, it's fine, but if you don't, it's not necessary. However, alts are necessary in this game, at least to some extent, But you can play without them, it is possible. Now, will you reach the highest of highs? Probably not, right? Because you will not have a high roster, you will not have enough gold or any other materials to get high levels. However, as you can see, I play only one character. Yes, I do have the alt. I barely play on him, maybe I do one raid a week and that's about it. I'm 1566, and as you can see, the highest raid we can do right now is 1580. And new raids are about to come that are like in 1600, but they're not here just yet. And when they do, the game developers said they will increase the power pass, and it's probably gonna be easier to get to them anyways, so it's probably gonna be fine. You will not do the highest damage necessarily. Maybe you're gonna have a little bit harder time getting into parties than if you had a whole bunch of vaults. Of course, it's gonna take you a lot longer to farm the gold and all the materials you need to upgrade, but you can play with one character, at least to some extent. You can enjoy all of the content, maybe not as easy as other people, but you will not spend as much time as they. Now the next tip is gold. Gold is king, and the game, for how important the gold is, really fails to showcase that. When you start off, you mostly need a little bit of silver and that's about it, and the game gives you quite a lot of it. And so you have no idea you're gonna need as much gold as you will need. So be sure as soon as you start playing, keep in mind you need to do everything to collect the gold from day one, because you're gonna need it and you're gonna need a lot of it. When I started, I had no idea, and by the time I needed the gold, I had none. I just thought I don't need it now, and when I need it, the game will give it to me. That wasn't the case. And here's some of the tips to get gold. Tip number 1, Legion raids. That is definitely a good way to make gold. That is probably the main way to make gold. Tip number 2, Una tasks. Una tasks gives you tokens. To get tokens, you need points. Each weekly will give you 12 points and each daily will give you 2 points. As long as you do 3 weeklies on your main and on your alt, you're gonna have enough points each week to get all the tokens. You can simply take one Chaos dungeon, one Guardian dungeon, and you can take one collecting trade skill. And so what happens when you do Chaos Dungeon, you're gonna collect the weekly, when you do the Guardian, you're gonna collect the weekly, and when you gather wood or anything else, you're also gonna collect your weekly. And you wanna do all 3 of them, so it's kind of works out anyways. As you can see, I have 1000 points right now. Be sure to only take this chest, do not take these, because this has the best chance to drop the most gold. As you can see, this one has a giant gold bar chance, these 2 do not. If you do not get any other rewards, you're likely to get around 1000 gold. But as you can see, I received an extra 1000 gold. And this time I only received extra 200 gold. But that is still better than nothing. One of the other best ways to make gold is to do these instances here. Unfortunately today there is none that will give you gold, but the most important one you need to do every time you see, on the days that it's available, it's each hour, it's the Chaos Gate. The Chaos Gate will be like a blue circle, and the second most important one is the Field Boss. It's gonna look like a boss head in a green background. You will know what I'm talking about when you see it. But the most important one is the blue one, the Chaos Gate. The Chaos Gate will give you these, it will give you this, and as you can see, all of them are tradable. Keep in mind, do not ever use the tradable ones. Why? Is because you can trade them and you can get gold. The game will give you a lot of them that are not tradable and use those, and the ones that are tradable, sell. At least until you can afford not to sell. And how to sell, you might ask? Well, it's simple. You go to escape, market, add item, you add item, you check the prices, you maybe go a little bit below the price to sell off quickly, add item, and that's it. And you wait till somebody buys. Once somebody buys, it will come up here. Another important tip is always collect your dailies. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of dailies waiting for me, might as well collect them. Same here. It may not look a lot now, but over time it really adds up and it saves you a lot of money. Now let's assume you got a whole bunch of items, you use the power pass, you have no idea what to do with them. Well, it's simple. Put everything in a bank until you figure it out. But the most important ones, by quite some margin, will be the Orcheus. It's gonna look like this, or it will look like this. It's the same thing. As you can see, these 2 are just different tiers. Do not look at item tier. Item tier is the same, but it's actually can be a little bit confusing because this is actually quite a bit higher tier than this. The Orchaeus ones are probably the hardest ones to come by, and so you're probably gonna need to buy most of them. So everything you get, save up, but also make sure to use them if you need to, because you cannot exchange these ones. You can exchange some of the other ones, but not these. The second most important thing to keep will be these, the Honor Leapstones. Again, this is the same thing, but lesser tier. These are also important to keep, however, if they're tradable, sell them, because sometimes you're gonna get the ones that are not tradable, and you wanna use those and sell these for money because you're gonna need gold. And these two are very important as well. But the game will probably, as you can see, will give you quite a lot of these. All of these are the same, just different tiers. Luckily with these, if you have leftovers, and as you can see, there we go, we sold an item. If you have any leftovers, you can go here to the exchange honing material. You can find it anywhere, but in this instance it's in Vern Castle, and this guy is located here. You just come, and as you can see, you can exchange, for example, some of these into the higher tier, also some of these into the higher tier, but like I said, you cannot exchange these, so make sure you use them. The next tip will be, in the beginning you might not feel the need for shards, because the game, if you use the power pass, probably gonna give you a whole bunch of them. You will not feel the need for them, but eventually you will, and you need to start farming them as early as you can, and the best way to get them, just do your chaos dungeons, do your dailies. This is by far the best way to get it. My next tip will be, make sure you check what you can use. For example, these things here, this is a free upgrade. However, it is for my previous tier, and I cannot use it anymore. So make sure you use these things. You may also receive a blue and red stones that you can use for quality upgrade, which is also important. As you can see, I have a few of them left. They're gonna look like this and this. Make sure to use them as well. As you can see, I'm failing quite a lot. There is very minimal chance it will succeed. But what will happen once you run out is it's gonna be really expensive to even try. So if you have some, use them. The next tip in the same series will be, make sure you use your books. These will give you an extra chance to upgrade. However, this book is for the previous tier, and I cannot use it anymore. So this might have saved me a little bit of gold, a little bit of material, but I never used it, and I never will. So make sure you check if you have any books like this. The wielding one is for weapon, and you might as well get another one. The tailoring one, it will be for your gear. So make sure you check. Now the next tip, when you do your raids, you will receive items like this. And with these items, you can come here to the set gear manager. And what you can do is you can upgrade your set levels. As you can see, my whole set is level 2. I'm still missing a little bit of these to get to level 2 my weapon. And after that, I would need these items to get it to level 3. So make sure once you're done raiding, see if you can upgrade your set a little bit. It took me quite a while to notice that I can do that. My next tip will be, when you do your chaos dungeons, your raids or anything else, a lot of times you will receive gems. These gems, if you go to your inventory and go fuse gems, every 4 ones, that is if you have 4 gems at level 2, you can fuse into 1 of level 3. And it goes all the way like this. You get the point, right? Then once you have like around level 6, 7, maybe level 8, it's gonna take a while to get it. You can go to market, you can go to auction house, gems, and as you can see, you can sell them for quite the profit. These level 5s are not much. However, at level 7, as you can see, it starts to get quite pricey. You can make quite a profit. Although you're gonna need them yourself as time goes, but at least for a little while, you might need gold more than you need the gems. And if you start playing on event, you might receive something like I do, which is level 7 gems. And so that means at least until level 7 you have. So you have a little bit of time where you can sell the gems and make some profit and use that profit to get your item level. Because at first at least that's gonna be more important. And to not take too much space, you can, because you're gonna have a lot of them, you can actually keep them here, which is gears and skins storage, which is a little bit separate from your bank. And you also have roster storage. This storage can be transferred between characters. This is a personal one. Now my other tip is, the guides on YouTube for raids are too complicated. Use a cheat sheet. I will provide a link in the description as well. For example, the gate 1 in Belshazzar is really easy. However, as you can see, this video is 16 minutes long. It's way too much information. If you wanna get good at this gate, this is a good video for you. But if you're just starting out, there is no way, there is no chance you're remembering this much information. When really all you need to know is this: where to go on bar 85. That's it. As long as you know this, you're gonna be fine. And as you can see in the cheat sheet, there's only 4 things you need to remember. And you can have this cheat sheet on your phone or maybe on the second monitor like I do. Really, in this gate, all you need to know is where to go when the portals spawn and at what order as well. So for example, if you are in party 1 and you are number 1, you go here and you go first. And then the second party, the first person in this party, goes second here. That's it. Here, you pretty much don't need to know anything, except if you end up in the orb mechanic, you need to kite it. But even if you failed it, and let's say you need to restart, there's very small chance you're gonna end up in the same room again, so you're probably gonna be more than fine. Here, you will see how everybody's running in one area, so all you need to do is just follow the people. And here, during the counters, even if you do anything, somebody will know what to do and they will counter and you'll be fine. This is not necessarily the best way to learn, but this still beats watching a 16-minute video and having no idea what to do. That is way too much information for way too simple of a gate. And the same goes for Walton, and the same goes for Clown. Those videos make it look so complicated, when in reality all you need to remember are just a couple things, and after that just mostly follow other people and you will be fine. That being said, it could be difficult to find a party. So my next tip is, if you can't join them, go without them. Create your own party, and when the party fills up, ask who knows what to do and just transfer the lead. You're probably gonna make a party, fill it out, and start the raid way before you find a party in here. But not always, but sometimes that could be the case. Sometimes some salty people just don't want to take you in party, and it's easier to create your own one and then just transfer the lead to somebody who knows when to use the sidereals. Or maybe you want to learn yourself, which is a good way to go as well. And of course, because the raids are so complicated, matchmaking of course is as good as useless, except for the Walton. A lot of new people that's starting out, they kind of use the matchmaking because they don't know they need to use the party finder. So if you are a new player, you might find for Walton party through matchmaking. Keep in mind though, everybody who you will match is gonna be new, so you guys gonna have a hard time, but that's the only way to learn. My next tip will be, use the Abyss raid. As you can see, this raid gives gold, but not always. It only gives gold, I think, until like 1475 if I remember correctly. And this one is easy as hell. It gives about 1000 gold once completed, but in this raid, even if you die, you can use these things to insta-revive yourself, and it's pretty much just free gold. Really, that's all there is to. It's a free gold. There's usually not a lot of parties, but a few here and there, you're gonna find it. And while you're leveling up, make sure to do this to get some extra gold, because it's so easy, you can revive yourself and it will give you gold, but not forever. After 1475, it will no longer give gold. And like I said, gold is king. My next tip will be, use all the possible events you can. As you can see right now, there is one event. This is not an event, but this still gives some free items. I have completed this, but this also is an event, and it will give quite a lot of items once you complete it, and a lot of items along the way. Currently I'm doing this event. There is also the daily event, another daily event, and usually there's another daily event here as well. So make sure you use everything. Do not miss out on stuff. The next tip will be, use the Bifrost. You will be surprised how long it took me to figure out I can use this. As you can see, I have 2 keys. I have one to Lullaby Island, which we're gonna use now. It insta teleports you, so you do not need to travel. And that brings me to my other tip. Gather the materials. As you can see, you have 10,000 life energy every day. I mean, not every day, but like about every 2 days or so. And this is free gold. As you can see, you receive the items. You can find these items in your inventory, then you go to storage, and then you go to Stronghold. And here you can find these items. And these items are sellable. Not only sellable, they are quite expensive. 10 of these is about 100, 10 of these is about 20 gold, and 100 of these is also about 100. But this is a lot easier to collect than this, and this is a lot easier to collect than this, so it makes sense, right? From my experience, probably the easiest and best to collect would be wood. It's the most expensive one from my experience and the easiest one to collect as well. And the best place to do that will be the Lullaby Island, which is located right next to Tortoik here. But if you make a Bifrost, you can just teleport every 2 hours here, so you don't need to sail. And then if you have another key, as you can see I have Northwern Castle, you can just move back. As for the tools goes, as you can see I have a lesser tool, but really they don't make that much of a difference. It doesn't matter, as long as you have at least a Prentice tool, you're gonna be fine. Nicer tools are nice, but not necessary. Another tip is, in case you have an event shop going on, which we do have right now, buy pretty much everything. Everything is in here is useful. You get these stars by doing dailies. This might change at the time you watch this video, or the shop might not even exist. But in case it does, buy everything. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of materials that are very useful. There's another shop and another shop, and just make sure you buy everything you can. And make sure you use everything before it expires. As you can see, I have these amulets. What they do, and you will need them, if you choose a skill, it can level up the skill. But these amulets, they only work until February 7th. After that, they will expire and you will lose out. So make sure if you have any items that are time bound, make sure to use them. Another tip I will give you, and it might sound a little bit silly to long-time players, but if you press M on your map, you can actually board an ocean liner, or you can sail immediately to your ship. I had no idea. I played for so long and I had no idea. I've never noticed it. If you board the ocean liner from here, you can immediately go to any of these places, provided they are unlocked. You may also receive a box like this. In this box, you will have blueprints. You may also receive another box that will have materials for your shipping upgrades, and you will need these materials to upgrade your ship. So let's quickly head out to the ship. Once you're at your ship, you can press here to upgrade, and as you can see, you need a whole bunch of items, and you might have them because the game gave you and you just didn't notice because you didn't know. And you can upgrade your ship and it will travel faster and it will have more durability. And while sailing in this game is not the main part of the game, but it is a relatively big part of the game, so you wanna make sure you upgrade your ship to the maximum that you can. Now another thing that took me quite a while to notice and understand how important it is your Stronghold. You can get to it by using the Song of Heart and Home, and you can find your songs by pressing F2. Now there is so many things you can do in here, so many things that you're gonna need to do eventually, so you might as well start early, right? As you can see, you can upgrade stuff, you can build ships, you can build a whole bunch of expansions, you can upgrade your lab, your workshop, your station. In your workshop you can craft a whole bunch of items. I would not recommend to craft anything in terms of like potions and bombs and stuff like that, simply because you're probably gonna receive a lot of them in the beginning, so do not waste your money. But there are stuff like you can get like tools, you can craft Orcheas, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you're gonna open up as the time goes by. You also have a station. As you can see, you can receive these things by simply sending out these guys for a mission. You can also do your dailies, you see? For example, you wanna do your Guardian raid, you can simply send out a ship and you will do your Guardian raid. You can only do this once a day, but you can still do that. So it's very important. As you can see, my Stronghold is level 24 and you only get a certain amount of action per day that you can use. As you can see, I have 10,000 action energy left. You also have a farm here that you can gather stuff and a whole bunch of other important things. I still myself don't know everything that I can take here and do here, so I cannot give you a good tour of what's the most important here. I'm sure my viewers will tell you in the comments that, but there is a lot of important things in here you should look out for. So make sure you start early with your Stronghold. And the last tip I will give you, last but not least, remember one thing. This game is a marathon, it's not a sprint. When you start off, especially if you go through the story, the game can give you an impression as if you're gonna move forwards very fast and it's gonna be like this always, but that's not the case. Once you reach item level 1490, the game will start slowing down quite drastically. And once you go around like 1580 and beyond, it will slow down even way more than that. So do keep in mind, be patient. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And for now, that's all I have for you guys today. This was just me giving you my tips and the things that I missed out when I started to playing this game. Things that I could have done earlier, better, easier, faster. Things that were important but I missed out. And surely I missed a bunch of stuff. I have no doubts. You guys will do an excellent job in the comments to fill out the gaps for all these new players watching this video. These are just some of the things that I personally experienced or found to be confusing, or just simply the game failed to inform me about. Like for example, the game really failed to inform me about how gold is gonna be super important, and so I wasn't really paying attention. I just thought that the game will give it to me when time comes, and it didn't. So I hope you can appreciate the effort in making this little guide for you guys. It's a guide slash a tip video slash just a new player experience and me trying to help you not to make the same mistakes. And in doing so, I hope you will consider leaving a like on this video, perhaps subscribing. But for now, I appreciate you guys watching and I'll see you soon. Take care, bye bye.